Hey y'all, it's March the 11th, 2017, and I want to make a short video. I want to make it real short. I want to make it as short as possible, but there's something that I have to share with you guys today. And you can ask questions if you want, you could debate. You could debate me. I love debates. Or discuss with me anything that you want about this particular video. Feel free to do so. But I wanted to make this as short as possible. Alright. So with that in mind, here's what I want to talk to you about. There's one book in the world that is the absolute most hated book in the world by the most people with such a fervor. Alright. There is one book, the most hated in the world. And you might not understand, but that book's called the Bible. Hated. Absolutely. And there's a character in the Bible. He comes towards the end part, and that actually, believe it or not, and I know a lot of people might want to disagree or whatever, feel free to do so. Most hated person or person-like figure on earth ever. Hated. His name is Jesus. Alright. This book is the most hated in the world, and it's also the most loved by the people who do love it. Alright. They'll base their whole lives on what they learn from this book, and they won't stop talking about the book. They can't stop talking about it. Right. Very highly disputed book, and in fact the most hated in the world, the most well-known book in the world, and subsequently the most hated in the world, with the most hated person or person-like figure in the world, and his name was Jesus. Or I mean, it was actually different. It's just there's translations of his name, but the name as we know it in America, that's Jesus. Alright. A lot of people hate this book for many different reasons, but let me try to encapsulate it. They hate the book because they think it's full of lies. They think that none of this stuff happened in history, and it's all fantastical, and it's all whimsical, and it's all basically impossible, and it never happened, and people made it up, and they made it up because they wanted something to believe in that wasn't really there, and they were just trying to picture something that they had no idea about, and they called it God. Right, because God made them feel good, or whatever their agenda was. But a lot of people hate it. There's many people who hate it. There's many people with good intentions out there who hate this book. Alright, and the reason is because they think that it's full of lies, and it's meant to manipulate you, and it's meant to make you submit to some sort of perverted priest out there, and so therefore the book is bad, and they hate it. They hate the book. Alright, and they find that there's lots of things in the book that they disagree with, and they find that there's lots of contradictions that can be pointed out in the Bible. Right. And for those reasons and many other reasons, they hate the Bible. Right. It's the most hated, and it's the most loved book of all time. Out of all the books that were ever written, now let's think about this. There's many books have been written. Many books. Who knows how many books? I'm willing to bet you at least hundreds of thousands of books, if not millions of books, have been written. And a lot of these books have been, in fact, history books. It's a different category. It's the nonfiction. It's the subtitle is called history books. All right, a lot of these books, whether you agree on the Bible, whether you like it or hate it, whether you love it or just totally indifferent, it does not matter. The Bible is categorized as a history book. It does claim to purport to display accurate history. Alright, so let's go ahead and keep it simple, because I know all y'all out there are familiar with history books. If you never read history books, you were introduced to them in school and stuff. Like, people told you what a history book was. Alright, what you need to understand is, with all the perspectives that are alive in this world today, and in fact all the ones who died a long time ago, there's going to be all sort of history books, and some are going to be accurate and some are not. Some are going to disagree with others and some aren't. All right, there's no way to read all these history books. All right, so it's real hard. You had to go and research specific events If you wanted to figure out, get down to the nitty gritty of, like, say, the Civil War, you're going to have to get all sort of Civil War history books, like, for example, all right? And when you get all these Civil War history books, and there's going to be a lot of them, all right? You're going to find that some don't agree with others, and you're going to have to piece together what exactly happened. What happened here? Because some of the events are told differently, and you got to figure out, well, what is the truth, all right? And what that's going to take, regardless of what anybody tells you, is your own discernment. It's going to take your own discernment. You're gonna have to figure out, well, who's telling the truth, who's more trustworthy as a source. All right, what source is this information coming from? All right, so the book is a history book. This book called the Bible, that is a history book. All right, it absolutely is. Now let's think about this. All right, books are very important. They've proven to be absolutely crucial in the development of our societies. Books have. All right, so let's take all the history books that have been written, all of them, all the ones that we know of, and let's think about this. Here's the problem. Here's where the problem comes in. All of us, to include myself, are incurring problems in our life. All right, we see that we're having problems. Not only that, we see that other people are having even worse problems happen to them in their life, and we try to figure out, sometimes when we get time, we try to figure out, how can we turn this around? All right, something's not good here. It needs to be changed for the better. All right, a lot of us out here, whether we believe in the Bible or not, regardless, a lot of us out here want to take the past, what's happened in the past, take all the bad things that happened in the past and alleviate that and turn it into something much, much better that we call the future. A lot of us out here, whether it be for us or for our children or whatever else, we want to make the future better, right? Well, if books are so important as they are, well, then the question becomes, what book out there can most accurately depict a wide span enough of events in human history and development? What book out there can showcase all sort of events in such a way that you be able to read this book and figure out in a concrete sense, in an infallible sense, how we as people can create this absolutely magnificent future? Is there a book? That's the question. Is there a book out there that any one of us could read and gain knowledge from and wisdom, so much to the point that we can absolutely take the past, which was pretty good, but it had its faults, turn it into something much, much, much better that we call the future? Is there a book that does that? I happen to think there is. It's called the Bible. All right. Yeah, I know a lot of things happen in it that seem impossible, seem fantastical, if you will. Yeah, I'm aware of that. There's a lot of other different history books where things happen in it that blow my mind, that are gosh dang absurd. All right. I'm aware that history books, sometimes they do depict things that happen in human history that seem like just over the top, insane nutballs. I'm aware of that. But what book? That is my question to you. Is there a book out there that you could read, that anybody could read, and finally figure out how to take their past and make something better out of it, called the future? Maybe there are other books. I wish you would suggest them to me. I really want to read them. But until then, I feel like there isn't. I've never seen one that can completely take history and teach anybody, everybody, how to go ahead and make a better future about it. I've never seen it. All right. So I guess the takeaway of this whole topic, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, is this. I mean, you're going to read any history book. If you ever read a history book in your life, if you ever even read a few passages out of a history book, the sad truth is you're going to have to take its word for it, period, regardless of which book it is. All right. So You know, since none of us were there to experience actually what went down these past few thousands of years, since none of us saw that firsthand, what you're going to have to do is take his word for it. You're going to have to take a book's word for it. Either that or you're going to have to dismiss books altogether. You're going to have to drive books out of your life. Right? Because if there is absolutely no book that is worth a damn, all right, there's no book, like, is there no book that exists in the world that can help anybody and everybody figure out how we can get to this magnificent future? If that book does not exist, why don't we just go ahead and burn books altogether right now? You see how books are worthless if they can't help us turn the past into a better future. So that being said, what book is out there that's better than the Bible? What book out there is the most hated? What book is more hated than the Bible? What book is more loved than the Bible? What book out there? Is there a book out there? I don't think there is. Meanwhile, all of us are incurring problems, and some people take their problems and, you know, they sulk about it and they think, oh, I'm a victim, I'm always going to be a victim, people need to treat me extra special nice because I am a victim and stuff, and oh, I got problems, woe is me. And then there's other people out in the world who have, what you would say, better intentions, who want to take the problems and they want to fix the cause of the problem. They know that the problem was caused by something, and so they want to take the cause and get a solution, make a solution, fix the problem so that they don't incur this problem anymore in their own lives, or perhaps fix problems for others out there who are having difficulties. There's a lot of people out there with good intentions about fixing their own problems and fixing the problems of others. All right, but is there a history book out there that can show you more accurately, more in depth, and more to the point of how to fix your problems and everybody else's problems out there? Is there a better book than the Bible? That's what I'm asking you. Or are all books in their entirety completely worthless, and should we just abandon books altogether? I don't know if I'm just tripping, but the thing is, man, you know, that's why I talk about the Bible so much, because I can't talk about a million books at once. But I can talk about one that, like I said, the most hated, but still, yet and still, it will solve your problems. It will go to the root of the cause of your problems, and it'll tell you where your problems came from. And it'll tell you exactly who you need to turn to in order to kind of alleviate all that in the future, in the magnificent future that we all want. Anyways, you know, it's March the 11th, 2017, you know, and it's just something to think about. The video was longer than I wanted it to. I'm not shoving nothing down your throat. You can believe in whatever God you want to believe in. You can do whatever you want to do, all right? But is there a better book out there? Is there? Is there a better book? That is the question. I'll holler at y'all.
Just should be extreme, just kill it, Christians are called upon to convert every person. They should be extreme. Christians are called upon. There's only one way. There's only one way, and that's the Lord Jesus Christ. Christians, tolerant of all other religions and ideologies. And so because it's so deeply ingrained in the psyche